Vamos a dar paso a Sadie St. Lawrence, fundadora y CEO del Human Machine Collaboration Institute, reconocida líder en inteligencia artificial. Sadie nos presenta su charla The Age of the AI Orchestrator, cómo la IA está cambiando el trabajo y qué depara para el futuro. Por favor, recibamos con un fuerte aplauso a Sadie St. Lawrence.
Good morning. My name is Sadie St. Lawrence, and it is my absolute pleasure and honor to be with you here today. Today I'm going to be talking about the age of the AI orchestrator. And I hope that you come away with three things. One, I hope you learn something new about AI. Two, I hope that you feel inspired to take action. And third, I hope that you become the orchestrator of your own life, your family, and your community. I've worked in artificial intelligence for 10 years, and over 2 years ago, when ChatGPT came out, I started to ask myself questions I had never asked myself before. And one of those questions was, what does it mean to be human? Now, this seems like a simple question, and I hope all of you write down this question and start to think about what it means for yourself. But as I started to use ChatGPT, I noticed that in a lot of instances, it was better at writing than I was. It could speak multiple languages that I cannot speak. It was able to even just write code faster than I could. And I started to feel a little inferior. And so I wondered, what does it mean to be human in an age of AI? And so this led me to an anthropological study where I had to go back in the history books and say, how have we as humans been able to survive for thousands of years? And what I found as we did this, humans have continued to evolve. And how we've classified this evolution is through different ages, through the Stone Age, the Bronze Age, the Iron Age, all the way to the Renaissance. And as I started to look at why each of these ages were important, I found that they were characterized by different tools that people made. In the Stone Age, individuals created hand axes and spears and shelters, and this allowed us to gather together in tribes. Then after the Stone Age, we went into the Bronze Age, and we developed the wheel, and this allowed us to start to travel and to move goods around. And from there, we went into the Iron Age and created more advanced agricultural systems. And this pattern continued on and on, all the way to the age of the Renaissance, my favorite age, because it was the age of the printing press, where for the first time ever, information could be spread and distributed between individuals. And what I realized as I looked at us as humans in our evolution, there was a common pattern that happened. And that common pattern is that we as humans love to create. And there's something really, really amazing that happens when we create. When we create, we then evolve. And it's this beautiful loop and cycle that happens. We create a new tool, and that allows us as humans to evolve into the new age. And then we create another new tool, and we evolve again into the new age. And this, to me, is something that makes us as humans different. This is our competitive advantage. So when I fast forward today, I said, okay, we've gone through the different ages, but what about as we zoom in more recently in the last 100 years? Do we see this pattern again and again? And what I realized is we do. But what's a little bit different this time is as we move on from Industry 1 to Industry 5, what we see is the time between each of these industries is getting shorter and shorter. If you were born in Industry 1, it took roughly 120 years before we developed Industry 2. What this means is you probably would have not lived in both of these industries. One, we didn't live as long, but two, it wasn't something you would have to worry about. You wouldn't have to worry about evolving to that next age. But today, as we look at going from Industry 4 to Industry 5, which is taking roughly 20 years, we realize it's not something that we will just evolve in our own lifetime, but within our own careers. And so what we see is from the days of the printing press that allowed us to first ever share information to today, we are scaling intelligence at an exponential rate. Here on the y-axis, you'll see the cost of calculations per dollar. And what you can see is they're getting faster and they're getting cheaper. Now, regardless of all the algorithms that we take, if we just take pure computing power, what we see is that because of the computing power, between the year 2040 and 2060, we will be able to have intelligence of all human brains. And where we're at today is roughly the intelligence of a mouse, just based purely on computational power. And each of us have seen this in our day-to-day lives. So when ChatGPT came out, the model that was first used was called GPT 3.5. And it was able to pass some exams, you'll see that in the blue, and they were exams like history and psychology. But within a matter of 6 months, when GPT-4, the next model, came out, we see that it was able to pass more mathematics exams and chemistry. If we fast forward today to 2024, we see not only is there the GPT models, but there's lots of additional models. And now these models have generalized intelligence, where we can look at them on an IQ score. So for reference, the average intelligence of a human being is 100 points. You see that in the middle of the bar chart, of the bell curve here. Today, the most recent model, O1 from ChatGPT, has roughly 120 IQ points. For reference, lawyers have an IQ of between 110 and 120. So we can look at these as highly skilled professionals. But this leads to an opportunity, an imperative, an opportunity of economic growth and activity. It's estimated that by 2030, there will be over 13 trillion of economic activity added. And this adds to the global GDP of 1.2%. And what we see is this is an imperative where it's not a matter of adopting AI to get ahead, but most importantly, those who do not adopt AI will not survive. And so today I really want to talk about what this means for us as individuals, as individual workers, and as individuals who have employees and companies. So today we can estimate that roughly 34% of tasks are done by machines. We know that with the advancements of artificial intelligence, more and more tasks are going to be done by AI. And it's estimated by the year 2027, 43% of tasks will be done by AI. When I share this with people, their first question of, does this mean that my job is going away? And I would say yes and no. It's a much richer and more complicated story. So what we see here is each one of these little circles is 1 million jobs. In the blue is the jobs that are lost, in the yellow are the stable jobs, and in the red are the new jobs. What we often focus on is the blue, the jobs that are lost. But what we see is there are actually more jobs that are going to be created because of this technology. And so our imperative is, how do we shift those from the blue into the yellow, and then those in the yellow into some of the red? And what this means is it means that almost everyone is going to need to update and reskill their core skills. It's estimated that 44% of workers' core skills, almost half of what they do every day, is going to change. And this isn't just a matter of it's going to change because we need to learn a new tool, but more importantly, it's a change in our mindset. The way I like to think about this is I have played in an orchestra, and I know tomorrow night we're all going to listen to the Philharmonic Orchestra, and so I hope that you keep this reference in mind as you listen to these amazing musicians play. As individuals in a company, we are like the musicians in that orchestra. We each have different roles, we each have different tasks, and there's one individual who's the CEO or who's the conductor. As we start to adopt more and more AI, we allow AI to be the musician, and we as the individual get to move into that conductor role. Additionally, we get to move from just writing to actually narrating a story, or we go from doing to asking. And so what we're facing is a mindset shift in the way that we work. And that mindset shift is to become the orchestrator, that each of us have the power to create the tools, the services, and the products that we want alongside of AI. So how do we do this? We do this through an AI strategy and maturity. Today, we're really at a critical moment in AI adoption where all employees will expect AI to support their work. Additionally, every company is an AI company by default because we embed these services into our own products and services. And lastly, model intelligence is what will change everything. Staying up to date and having the most accurate model is going to give you that competitive advantage. And so today there's 3 ways to implement AI. First, it starts with building an AI-enabled workforce, automating the operations, and infusing AI into your products. And this is not something that it's a one and done type of task. What this is an ongoing journey. And the way I like to think of it is in terms of maturity. It's a marathon that you have to get started on and will continue to evolve when you get started. Again, first it really starts with that individual productivity. Do each of your employees, do you yourself have your AI co-pilot, your AI assistant, your AI resident? And once you yourself are empowered, how do you empower your team? Do you create custom GPTs or custom projects? And then as you empower your team, how do you scale that to an organization? Do you start to fine-tune models, create custom actions, and then bring that into your customized impact to your own customers and products, or then create your own proprietary AI? As you can see, this is not something that just happens overnight. It's a journey. And so I want to take you through a case study that we did with a city in California. So while California is much known for Silicon Valley, there are many different cities within the country, and they're all at different points on their AI maturity. And so this city really wanted to be seen as a leader in innovation and technology, to attract more companies into their city, to have a vibrant ecosystem, and to be a leader in economic development. And so what we did was we first started with assessing their workforce. We said, who's here today? You have to take care of the people who are here today. And where are they at today? What careers are they in? And how do we help them get from 0 to 1? After we mapped out where the people are today, we said, okay, now that we know where they are today, now we can start to provide very tailored training programs to them. And one of the training programs that we provided was a 6-month analytics and AI training program. And this program focused heavily on underserved communities. As the government started to see the results of this, they said, this is amazing. And we realized that actually we as government employees also need these skills. And so we did the same thing for the government employees. We came in, we assessed where they were today, and we trained them on where they need to be next. What this looks like is taking a very tailored approach. So something that people often get confused on is that AI does not do a whole job. What it does is it does tasks within a job. And what you'll see is that each job description has multiple tasks listed for that job description. So what we did was we took the job descriptions and we said, okay, we're going to pull out every task from these job description, and we're going to map those individual tasks to see where AI can be used and where it can't be used. Out of 80 jobs, we found that 79 jobs could use AI. There was only one job that could not use AI. And from those jobs, we found that 35% of the tasks that they did could be supported by AI. And we had a very tailored approach to this, to the type of AI, how they would use it, and then we provided training. And what we found was that training mattered. Yes, anybody can download an app, anybody can ask a question, but those who are trained are 19 times more likely to share that it's improving their productivity. So after we trained the employees, they came to us and said, well, this is fantastic, but what about our small to medium businesses? The small businesses are the lifeblood of our community, and they aren't getting access to this education, they aren't getting access to these tools. And so we took the same approach for the small to medium businesses. And so if you're looking to enable AI in your community, it really starts from going from the workforce to the government and to the businesses. And this is a simple matter of steps from assessing where you are today, because you have to know where you're starting from so you can know where you're going. The second part is providing training and that upskilling, the core skills, but most importantly, the mindset shift that we all have to take. And last but not least, it's a journey of empowerment. This is not something that is done today and done tomorrow. This is a continual journey. So what do we see from some of the outcomes? Well, first and foremost, employees had more economic mobility, but most importantly, they started to enjoy their work more. And this to me is amazing. This is not something that I expected to see, because I know how hard it is as a leader to get my team to really love and enjoy their work. And so the fact that you can share this technology with individuals and they start to love their work is a game changer. The second area was it established a foundation that this city was able to lead the way into the next industrial revolution. And lastly, they started to be seen as a leader, as an innovator, and started to attract new businesses. Now, I would be amiss if today all I did was talk about the benefits of AI and where we're going and how it's going to be a very rosy path. And if you start your journey, you're going to get 100% cash flow adoption and your employees are going to love you. But there is risks that we have to mitigate. And that first risk comes to trade-offs between humans and machines. So what we see is that machines are very good at performing and automating routine tasks. But every once in a while, a human needs to take over. And if you've ever driven in a self-driving car, what you'll notice is that the car is very, very good at driving. But it makes sure that you pay attention, because it knows that the second that it cannot take over and needs you to take over the wheel, you need to be paying attention to what's going on. Where the risk comes in is when we automate machine tasks and humans have to step in the loop and there is not a handoff that is well prepared. And this is where we can see catastrophic failure. And so it's an imperative that not only are humans in the loop, but are they in the loop in the right areas where they're able to truly mitigate the risks so that when we hand off from the machine doing the task to the human, there's a seamless handoff that can easily be mitigated from the human. The second area is you have to be patient with payoffs. Anytime you're implementing something new, things aren't going to go great from the beginning. And we see this over and over in technology, what we call the J-curve effect, where you start to do something new and all of a sudden your performance gets worse. Each of us as individuals will know this really well anytime we've started to learn something new. So I am trained in piano performance, and recently I wanted to learn to play the harp. Now, I thought it would be a very simple process because I know how to read music, I know lots about music, and so I should easily be able to pick up the harp and play it. What I found, though, was I could barely play basic skills. I couldn't even play a basic song or basic scales. And I realized that learning something new in the beginning, your routine performance starts to dip. And we see this again with AI. As we start to implement AI into our own processes and our own workflows, we may not see the benefits right away, but we have to stay through with it so that we can start to see that maximum impact. And so I have a few tips in terms of mitigating these risks. One, what we're dealing with is we're dealing with humans. It's humans that use this technology, and it's humans that are adapting and changing. And so when you're implementing a new AI strategy, you have to also implement a change management strategy. Secondly, you must have an iterative feedback loop. As I said, this is an ongoing journey. And so having iterative feedback loops of this was my vision, and this was my strategy, and my tactic, and my plans, but maybe parts of those need adjusted a bit. And so have an iterative feedback loop to make sure you are making those adjustments. And last but not least, it's a continual learning journey. I hope all of you love learning, because at a technology conference, if you signed up to work in technology, you signed up to be a lifelong learner. And so if we can do anything for ourselves or for our teams, it's to embrace a sense of curiosity and a sense of lifelong learning. So before I wrap up today, I just want to highlight a few things on where we are headed. First, we're headed to a future that is going to encapsulate more human and machine teaming. We already see this today. None of us could live without our iPhone or live without working on a computer. But the teams of the future look like a mix of humans and machines. And this is exciting because it allows smaller teams to start to bring new products and services to market much faster. Additionally, our intelligence is going to continue to scale, and it's going to continue to expand. So there's a lot of talk about artificial general intelligence, or AGI. The problem with a lot of this talk is no one can share a single definition for what AGI looks like. But I love this paper from DeepMind, because what they did was they started to quantify it and said, well, maybe we can break it down into levels, where level 1 is somewhat better than an unskilled human, and level 5 is superhuman. It outperforms hundreds of humans. And what we see here is that on a narrow AI basis, where it's focused on a particular subject or industry, we've reached superhuman level. Superhuman level from algorithms like AlphaFold, where it can predict gene protein foldings, something that would take a whole PhD candidate, their PhD, to be able to do, and now can do in a matter of seconds. However, on the general artificial intelligence side, we have not yet reached this superhuman capability. We're merely at a level 2, expanding into a level 3. But what does this mean? We know that we are going to reach level 3 and level 4 and level 5, most likely in all of our lifetimes. And so I share this with each of you because I think it's important that we not only build for today, but build for where this model intelligence is going. How do we build for the future? And how do we build for a future that incorporates tools that are as skilled as the 90th percentile of humans? So as I wrap up today, I just want to highlight 3 key takeaways. And the first one is that we are experiencing accelerated change. If you feel like the world is changing faster than ever, it is. But the good news is that change creates new opportunities. It creates new opportunities for businesses, for careers. In 1940, compared to today, 60% of the jobs that we work were not even created. The same is going to be true in the next 10 years, the next 20 years. And so the winners of the future are those who are curious, who are able to take risks, and who are willing to try new things. Secondly, we're facing a platform shift in our technology and how we work. And this not only requires us to learn new skills, but most importantly, to change our mindset in the way that we work. We have to change our mindset from doing to asking, from being a musician to being the orchestrator. And last but not least, we have to invest in the short term and in the long term. From a short-term investment, all of us need to be AI enabled. And what that looks like is we have our co-pilots, we have our assistants, we have our agents. We have them helping us in our daily tasks every day. And then from a long term, we have to start our journey on AI strategy and maturity. Again, Rome wasn't built in a day. We aren't going to build an AI company in a day either. But starting the journey today will provide a competitive advantage against those who did not start today, tomorrow. Most importantly, though, this is a time of change, and it's a time of opportunity. It's a time of opportunity where each of us have access to tools and technologies that allow us to create. We get to define what this next decade looks like. And if I can share any message with each of you, it's to become the creator of your future, to become the creator of your community, and to become the creator of your country. And most importantly, now is the time to create alongside of AI, and I'm excited to see what you build. Thank you very much.